everybody, and welcome back to BI Navigation. In this short video we're going to have an overview of the data model that produces the financials in the financial template. Plainly your ledgers would fit into this. We'd need to talk about the reports and how you wanted them structured, but we can take some ledgers and present something as quality as this. So how does this all work? It has a table structure underneath it, and in this fact table is in Power BI is the table with the main block of numbers in here. The fact table will hold your ledger data. We'll talk in a future video about how we map that and how we get that in here. And once we have all those numbers, we then need to filter and slice and dice them by date, months to dates, year to dates, and so on. By company, in BI Nav, that could be Manchester or Liverpool or Norwich, or by division. The divisions are held in here. We can look at departments, we can look at streams. Streams is actual or budget, and we need to know which line we're looking at, which data we're looking at. So are we looking at a summary page, which is profit and loss page, which is turnover, gross profit, expenses, EBITDA, and so on, or are we looking at a commercial page, an operational page for a department? If we take the service department or a repair department, we might be looking at labour sales, labour costs, and that'll then form the gross profit and so on. So different formats for different scenarios, and we can cater for any format from any set of nominal ledger accounts, as long as the data is in the nominal ledger. We've also got a small integrity test file here, which will be better explained as we go through the model later in the mapping process. But this is in play because the mapping process doesn't do ledger code mapping one for one, and we need to be happy that everything reconciles back when we produce the final thing. Looking at some of these tables a little bit more individually, we'll start with the companies table. We can see that this is a fairly simple table. It's one limited company with 2 divisions, 3 sites in each division. Cambridge, Norwich, Ipswich make up the East Division. Manchester, Liverpool, Leeds make up the North Division. Each business has a unit number. That's not necessary if these are unique, but ideal. And we need a sort sequence for these, so that when we put the slices into play and the filters into play, everything appears in a common sense order, an order that you would expect to see as a businessman or an accountant. We'll talk about these other ones when we talk about PDF generating at a later stage, but we can see there a basic structure of the business in terms of companies and sites. We then need a department page which lists all the department types down the left. Are they profit and loss? Are they balance sheet? Do I summarize my departmental profits before my site overheads? Or do I have some form of absorption, in which case I don't necessarily need the site overheads there? Every business is slightly different. We can cater for any structure, and again we've got a sort sequence here to make sure that these appear in the right order for us. Then we have one of the key drivers of the model, which is the report page. This here is, it would take me far too long in this short video to explain this. It's the subject of a later video when we look at where this data comes from. But we can see here the first page, turnover, gross profit percent, department expenses. So we build that, and we'll be building that in a spreadsheet. And a lot of the columns across the left tell us how that needs to display, where it needs to display, what the format needs to be, and so on and so forth. We'll talk about that in quite some depth in a future video. So we can see end of play here that we've got a pure star schema for those of you that are conversant with Power BI and maybe just struggling to get your financials in here. A pure star schema with one-to-many relationships flowing from the lookup tables across the top straight into the fact table where the ledger numbers are, and that kind of structure makes Power BI run very well. These can be set up with bidirectional relationships, but the model would become a little bit inefficient and would possibly give you some misleading results. In small ledgers that works really well, or can work really well, and as long as it works for you and it's fast and it's responsive, then that would be fine. But if we have a larger business, then we would possibly see some misleading results. So I hope you've enjoyed this short video of a quick overview of the structure at BI Navigation, and I look forward to chatting with you in the next video. Thank you.